All right, let's get right into it. We're about to deconstruct one of the most powerful and, frankly, one of the most hidden dynamics in human relationships. This isn't about the loud, obvious fights. This is about the quiet transfer of power. It's about the subtle mechanics of control that work completely under the radar, often disguised as love itself.
Just let that sink in for a second. Real, lasting control isn't about force. It's about convincing you to willingly hand over your own independence. And that's the paradox, right? That's what sits at the very heart of emotional dependence. The chains aren't made of iron. They're made of affection, of safety, and of validation.
And that idea leads us straight to our first key concept, the prison of comfort. Look, we're all taught to recognize control when it's loud, the yelling, the threats, the aggression. But the most effective, most insidious form of control, well, it doesn't feel like a prison, at least not at first. At first, it feels like the safest place in the world. And the contrast here is everything. On the left, you've got loud control. It's obvious, you can see it, you can name it, and you can fight it. But on the right, that's quiet control. That's the warm blanket. It's that feeling of being completely safe, totally understood. And that feeling of safety, that becomes the ultimate leverage. It's control, just perfectly disguised as care. So the question is, how does this actually happen? How does a loving connection slowly morph into a mechanism of control, often without you even noticing? Well, that's what we're going to break down, step by step. We're going to reveal the system that allows someone to feel completely trapped before they even realize a trap has been set. To really get what it feels like to be inside this system, we need to give the dynamic a name, and we call it the monopoly of worth. It's what happens when one single person becomes the sole provider, the only source for your sense of value and your emotional stability. So how does this monopoly actually start to take hold? It begins with this slow shrinking of your world. Maybe you stop calling that one friend because your partner thinks they're a bad influence. Or maybe you put a personal goal on the back burner because it might take too much time away from the relationship. Each decision seems tiny and logical at the moment, but when you add them all up, what you get is a gradual erosion of your personal autonomy, what we call your executive sovereignty. This process leads to a state you could call social anorexia. It's a really powerful metaphor if you think about it. Just like an anorexic starves the body of food, a person in this dynamic slowly starves their spirit of connection from a wide network. You get conditioned to crave validation from just one person, and pretty soon, every other source of support, your friends, your family, your mentors, starts to feel, well, irrelevant, or even like a threat to that primary bond. And this right here, this is the end game of the monopoly of worth. Your mood, your confidence, your sense of self, it all becomes this variable that only one person has the password to. And the result? Complete decision paralysis. You can't make a choice, big or small, without running it through the filter of what will they think, how will they react. Your internal compass is just gone. It's been replaced by their approval. You're not in a partnership anymore. You're stuck in a dependency loop.
So, how is this monopoly actually built? What's the engine underneath all of this that powers the whole dynamic? Okay, this is where we're going to get a little more strategic. We're going to pull back the curtain and look at the actual schematic of this emotional trap. This is the regulatory hijack.
The mechanism is a 4-stage process called the Calibration-Validation Loop. I want you to think of this as the literal operating system for creating emotional dependence. It's a very specific, escalating sequence that's designed to systematically transfer a person's emotional regulation from themselves to someone else. Let's break down each stage. It all starts with stage 1, hyper-idealization. You might have heard this called love bombing. And this isn't just a few compliments. It is an intense, overwhelming period where you feel seen and understood on a level you've probably never experienced before. This phase is absolutely critical because it creates what's called a neural anchor. It establishes a golden age in your brain's reward system, a perfect, blissful baseline that you will spend the rest of the relationship trying desperately to get back to. Okay, so once that anchor is set, the system moves to stage 2, subtle isolation. Now that this perfect bond exists, all of your external influences are slowly reframed. Your best friend isn't your support system anymore. Now they just don't understand our connection. Your career ambition isn't your passion, it's a distraction that threatens the relationship. Do you see the language there? It's never a direct order. It's a subtle framing that makes you feel like you are the one choosing to protect this special bond from outside threats. The isolation loop is closing in. And now we get to the real leverage point.
Stage 3, intermittent validation. That constant, predictable warmth from stage 1, it's gone, and it's replaced by an unpredictable pattern of affection and coldness. This is wickedly effective. It works just like a slot machine. The fact that the reward is unpredictable makes you work so much harder for it. You start to scramble, constantly analyzing their mood, trying to figure out what you did wrong so you can earn back that affection. This just skyrockets your cognitive load, leaving you mentally exhausted and completely focused on them.
And all of this leads to the final stage, the regulatory hijack. After cycling through this process over and over, you just stop trusting your own internal signals. Your entire emotional state is outsourced. If they're happy, you feel okay. If they're distant, you feel a sense of crisis. Your executive sovereignty, your fundamental right to govern your own inner world, has been completely traded away for a very fragile stability that is entirely in their control. The trap is now shut.
Well, why? Why is this system so devastatingly effective? Why do smart, capable, strong people get caught in this loop? Well, to understand that, we have to zoom in, way in. We need to look at what's happening at the molecular level. We need to look at your brain on dependence. What's really going on in your head is a biological tug-of-war. On one side, you got oxytocin, the bonding chemical. It gets released during those positive moments and reinforces that feeling of safety and connection. But on the other side, you've got cortisol, the stress chemical. It spikes anytime that bond feels threatened. A controller essentially weaponizes this system. By withdrawing affection, they spike your cortisol, which makes you desperately seek them out to get that hit of oxytocin just to feel safe again. Your brain's own chemistry is literally being used against you. And we have to remember the deep-seated reason this works. Our brains are running on ancient software. For our ancestors, being socially isolated, being kicked out of the tribe was a literal death sentence. So your brain is hardwired to treat the threat of losing a primary bond not as a simple emotional problem, but as a life or death survival crisis. It triggers your most primal panic button. And all of this creates a phenomenon called traumatic bonding. Now, this is the most counterintuitive, messed up part of the whole dynamic. It's a psychological trap where the very person who is the source of all your stress and anxiety also becomes the only person your brain believes can fix it. They become the safety node. You're not staying because it's good. You're staying because your panicked, hijacked brain is convinced you will not survive without them. Okay, so we've deconstructed the trap. We've looked at the mechanics. We've looked at the neurobiology. So now, how do you dismantle it? How do you get out? This last section is all about action. It's about reclaiming your executive sovereignty, using clear, strategic moves to take back control. The path back to autonomy has 3 tactical steps. First, label the monopoly. The moment you feel that little pang of guilt for wanting to do something on your own, just name it. Say to yourself, that's a dependency signal. This simple act pulls the thought out of your emotional brain and into your logical prefrontal cortex. Second, build support redundancy. This whole system thrives on isolation, right? So the antidote is to diversify your support, reconnect with people, break that isolation loop. And third, conduct reality auditing. Your feelings can be manipulated, but facts can't. Keeping a simple, objective record protects you from having your own reality twist. So where do you begin? You start small, with autonomous micro-wins. These are small, deliberate acts of independence. Go for a walk by yourself. Buy a book without asking for permission. Call an old friend. Each one of these actions, no matter how small it seems, is a piece of data. You are feeding that data to your amygdala, your brain's fear center. You're proving to your own biology, one tiny step at a time, that it is safe to act alone. You're rebuilding self-trust from the ground up. At the end of the day, a healthy relationship should expand your world, not shrink it. It should be a safe harbor that you can sail from, not a dry dock you get stuck in. The strength of a bond isn't measured by how much of yourself you have to give up for it, but by how much more of yourself it empowers you to become. So just remember this. Don't let your safe harbor become your only horizon.